Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a quick look at BCH. Before we do, we look at Bitcoin. And I always just like to say thank you so much to my patrons for requesting that I cover. So thank you very much, Yvette, for the request. I deeply appreciate that. And also your support. Now, moving on to Bitcoin. Let's take a quick peek at that and just kind of get an idea of what's going on here. Just because there's been some pretty significant sell-offs lately, and unfortunately the price is kind of just hovering between 63 and 65,000. It did dip down to about 62,000 and some change, pretty low. That really didn't help very much, but the bottom line is it is what it is. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, right, we are below the moving averages. It's still kind of having trouble breaking above that. If we can get it to break above the 50-day simple moving average, we'll be in really, really good shape. Okay, so all in all, Bitcoin isn't terrible. It's just not great, if that makes any sense. But it's kind of standard and par for the course. I would expect this weekend the prices slowly start creeping up, just based on the simple fact that weekends are typically more green than the weekdays, right? All right, so taking a look here at Bitcoin Cash. So taking a look at the 4 hour, actually, let's go to the 1 day chart first and get a big picture. Obviously, this has definite potential to do well, right? What, all-time high close at about 1550? So it does seem like, oh, very tempting, right? To have a position down in 600 because you'll probably 2 to 3x it breaks its all-time high. That can happen, yes, but it also got very high very quick back in May and just tumbled way down. Like, I am so sorry for anyone that got in a position up there. They lost probably about 60% of their portfolio in about 5 trading days. It's easy to laugh when you're not part of it, right? Sorry, I'm not making fun, but that sucks, right? That's terrible. Keep in mind, it takes a long time to get back to that position when you fall that far, right? What was it? There's some analogies I can't think of right now. Maybe I'll think of it in this video here, but the further you fall down, the harder it is to get back up. That's just the bottom line. So will it ever get up there? Sure, maybe, but I think it's less likely for that to happen. It's more likely for an all-time high right now of some coin that just hit its all-time high to break and to go in 2 and 3x than this is to essentially 2 to 3x to get to its original, highest point. So just keep that in mind. It takes a long time to recover from that. That being said, looking at the 1 day chart here, great news. We're up over the 200-day simple moving average. That's awesome. Another thing to note as well is that we got this price, essentially the 50-day simple moving average rather, moving its way up. That will inevitably cause a golden cross, which is commonly a very good bullish momentous indicator. It pushes the price upwards. Almost, I would say more often than not it does. I don't love the fact that it does. I don't think it's really relevant. Sometimes just kind of people will just buy it because of it. But that's how these self-fulfilling prophecies occur in trading, right? Is mostly just these charts and these patterns that are forming, and even industry leaders are causing the price to increase based on those small sentiments. That being said, BCH has potential to take off. I wouldn't say taking off as in 1600 by any means, but I could say that taking off could imply that we might get back up to the 700-800 range. I think that's very likely. But all in all, that's kind of where we're at there. We're above 50, under 70 for RSI in the 1 day. That's really good. It's no longer working as a resistance. It kind of broke that recently. We also have a potential divergence, but doesn't really matter too much in the 1 day chart. The 4 hour is more relevant here, and this is basically telling a different story. We have more potential for a bullish convergence than we do a bearish divergence, right? So I think that it's more likely for the price to, ramp back up in the near future than it is to dip down. Also note the RSI is back up over 50. This is awesome news. We like to see that. And bear in mind the 50 and the 200-day simple moving averages are working as support levels right now. At least potential supports. They weren't tested officially, but they can essentially work more support than resistance at this level. So all good things. I don't really see any bearish qualities yet for BCH. Now, taking a look at the 1 hour, let's go ahead and see what the Ishimoku Cloud tells us. This isn't great, but it's not terrible. I would say mostly just the fact that it doesn't really give us an indication of a buy signal. But if you're already in the position, it doesn't mean you necessarily need to sell, if that makes any sense. Because here, if the price is above the cloud, it's considered a buy signal, right? So you got a MACD convergence and the price above the cloud. It's a win-win, right? The MACD is potentially going to converge soon. There's no guarantees in that, but if the price continues to increase over the next couple of days, then we'll get a convergence in the MACD. We have the price likely breaking above the cloud at that point too, right? Because within about 24 to 48 hours, it'll be somewhere over here. So those are two positive things that could happen. We've also got the potential for a golden cross in the 1 day chart. Again, all good things, right? So again, this is not terrible news to have the Ichimoku Cloud above the price action right now. Looking at this too, though, keep this in mind. We're at about an 8 on the TD sequential. Therefore, we may not see much more of a push to the upside. We'll probably see some consolidation and then possibly another increase. So what we're hoping for is to get some higher highs and some higher lows, right? So the price just continues, goes like this, and just kind of keeps on going on its merry way. That's what we're hoping for. It's setting itself up to do that, but it's premature right now to kind of want to just jump in and anticipate that, right? So again, all good things. This is still not terrible if you want to think about it that way. I think big picture BCH still has tremendous potential. Now, as far as that potential is concerned, let's just go ahead and get a quick prediction here and call it a day for you. But what we want to look at is essentially the best case scenario here. So hypothetically, in the near future, let's see here, this is roughly, that's about 2 weeks of data. So in the last 2 weeks, it's taken 2 weeks to increase a total of 37%. So in order to get that same type of increase, in the next 2 weeks, we want to start seeing higher highs and higher lows, right? That's just the bottom line. The 1 hour chart, a little premature, we can't tell that yet. 4 hour chart, it got hit hard recently on November 10th, of course. That was the Bitcoin sell-off from Evergrande. So at this point, we're still making lower highs and lower lows on the 4 hour chart. So that's not fantastic, but it's not terrible because it's essentially holding at support for the most part. We can see 655 is somewhat of a potential support there. And then we can also kind of identify as well that we have a nice secondary support channel here, which was basically a high that couldn't be broken. And of course, kind of an average price right there, right? So I'm willing to bet if we look at the volume profile, right there close to that support level, at about 609, we have a strong amount of volume. I mean, obviously, the most amount of volume there because it stayed and consolidated the whole time, right? But needless to say, that reaffirms that support that people are not willing for the price to go down below that. So again, something to consider. So all in all, what we should do is just go ahead and mark some key support and resistance levels and just go ahead and see where we can go from there. Maybe take another look at this later. But for now, the good news is a majority of the volume is below the price right now, and so therefore the price comes down to that level. There's a strong chance it'll probably come back up, and that works as a strong support. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. Ultimately, I think that BCH definitely has potential to get up to about 932 by month end. I think that's very probable, but it really depends on the next 24 to 48 hours. We can't break this lower high, lower lows in the 4 hour chart. We might have some trouble, but there's a lot of big picture qualities that are awesome. Right, MACD convergence potential, price above the cloud potential, and more importantly, on the 1 day chart, we've got this potential, very strong potential for a golden cross, right? So that's probably going to be the deal breaker there within about a week or two. All right. That being said, I hope you found benefit here. Thanks again, Yvette, for requesting that I cover this. And if you're not currently a patron, I recommend you do so because we are filling up fast. I'm likely going to cap off the amount of members just so I can have more one-on-one time with my members here and obviously make sure that we get you the right kind of benefit that you deserve, of course. So again, check that out in your own time. I got a video somewhere around well, you could probably find out. You've probably seen it a few times just regarding what that entails. So message me if you have any questions. Hit me up on social media, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.